Hi YouTube. Right. For those that have watched the channel, you would have seen one of my earlier videos where I installed a fender extender to the front mudguard on the NC750X, and I promised you an update as to how that was performing, and sort of promised to share my experiences with that. So when I posted that video, it attracted quite a lot of comments. And one of the comments was from Stefan, so thank you very much for that. And if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, I do apologise. But he advised that using the pads wouldn't necessarily perform well in with the temperature differences and the vibrations that had happened over time, and that eventually they would come unstuck. Well, as I'm going on a trip next sort of Thursday and Friday, we're doing another one of the ABR trips, which I'll share how I get on with that. So that'll be good. That's next Friday. I didn't want the fender extender coming off during that trip because I was going to be away from home and it would have been difficult to try and sort of fix it or repair it. So I decided to take Stefan's advice and use plaster elastic glue to secure the fender extender to the bottom of of the mudguard, the front mudguard. So what that involved was removing the um, the mudguard itself. It's secured by six fixings. There's two Allen key bolts at the front and a bolt at the end, which secures the back of the mudguard to the forks, and also supplies there's a little bracket there that supports the brake line. And it's just a matter of removing them and sliding the fender up and moving it out. So, and then obviously you then need to refit it. So, and when I stuck the fender extender to the mudguard, the glue requires some 24 hours to really set properly. So it had to be off, and it had to be indoors to allow the temperature for it to set. And initially, I didn't have a lot of confidence, but in the morning, it is stuck really well. So that's good, and you will see that. So what I'm going to do now is just share with you the installation of putting the mudguard back on. There's a few little things that are very straightforward, but I think it's worth pointing out, and we'll see how that goes. Right, you can see here this is after it's stuck and it's all ready for installation, and you can see there's quite a good job there. I'm able to support the weight of the fender, weight of the mudguard by holding the fender extender, and it's pretty solid, and it does feel very strong. So I'm sure it's going to perform okay. One of the things that I noticed when I took removed it was that the bolts that the Allen key bolts that sit at the front that secure the fender extender to the forks were different sizes. The top one is the longer one, and the bottom one is a little bit shorter. So hopefully you can see that in the video. And it's important that you don't mix them up. So that's just for a bit of reference to know where they go, and hopefully um, that's relatively straightforward and clear. You also have a bolt at the back which screws into the forks. Unfortunately, my arm's in the way there, but there's only one place for that to go, and that's where that bolt fits. One of the things I also notice is in the top part there's a little spacer, which you can hopefully see on the video there, and that fits into the fender extender. So when you remove it, be careful that you actually pull that out because there's a danger that that can be lost. There's also, which I haven't shown in the video, a little rubber like washer, and yet again that was held in place and holds that little spacer in place before the bolt goes through. I didn't realise that, so when I took the mud guard off, it then fell out on the floor. And lucky enough, my good lady managed to find it, so we didn't lose it. You will also notice here that when we're then reinstalling the bolts, so I've used a bit of Loctite on those bolts and screwing them up. When I removed it, those bolts weren't very tight at all when they come out from the factory, from the installation. So I don't think they have to be particularly very tight. I did them up so they were hand tight. And when I installed them that they were loose first, so that the mudguard found its natural position on the bolts. And then once all six of the fixings were in place, I then just lock them up a little bit tighter, a bit hand tight. Um, so it's a relatively straightforward thing. It's well within the capabilities of anybody who's ever used a spanner before. And even if you haven't, it's a very, very straightforward thing to do. One of the bits I didn't have is because it's a new bike, I haven't managed to get hold of a workshop manual. So if anybody can point me in the direction of that, that is good. Because I've just sort of my experience is that you need to talk things up to the right talk, and unfortunately, I've not been able to find any torque settings for anything on the bike at all. So I'm using my judgment and my experience as to how tight these particular bolts should be. Not really, really tightening them up tight because I think you can potentially fracture the plastic. So don't go overboard with that. But I think they are pretty good. Right, so there it is. There's the installation already done. It's pretty good, and we'll see how that performs. So what next for us? As I've said, I'm going on a trip. We're doing the ABR February route, which I'm going to go down to do the Southwest Moors, Dartmoor and Exmoor, and I'll post a little video to let you share my experiences of what I get up to on there. The other things which I'm interested in doing is how to protect the rear shock. I've looked at fender extenders and various different sort of mudguard sort of things that stick on and hold on with table ties, and I'm not really convinced with any of them. So what I've purchased is an R&G shock sock, which will sit um, on the back of the shock, and hopefully that will give you some protection. And once that turns up, I'll fit that and show that, and you can make your own mind up as to whether that's a good thing. Other things I intend to do is because I'm away on this trip, I'm going to do a review of some soft luggage. Um, I've bought some. I won't share what I bought at the moment, but it's not necessarily worked out as I planned. So that will be an interesting review, and it'll be also interesting to hear your thoughts on what my next steps are. So, watch this space for that, and hopefully the trip will go really well. We'll have no incidences that of a bad way, and hopefully it will be a good trip, and I'll share it when I come back. And in the meantime, obviously, you know what this channel is all about now. Provide your comments, provide your feedback, share your experiences with the other users, and hopefully we can all learn off of that. Anyway, thank you, people. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.